Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's session. Today we will go for Chemistry Paper 6 Variant 2 for 2025 ON. Let's go. First question, eggshells are made from a mixture of calcium carbonate and other insoluble substance. Calcium carbonate react with dilute hydrochloric acid. The equation for the reactions are shown. The other substance in eggshell do not react with dilute hydrochloric acid, means inside the eggshells only calcium carbonate is react, others don't react. A student find a percentage by mass of calcium carbonate in an eggshell. They grind the eggshells into small pieces, find a mass of the eggshell, and then they add the small pieces of egg to access dilute hydrochloric acids and warm the mixture while stirring it with a glass rod, so all the calcium carbonate will react with HCl and form salt, water, and gas of CO2. So after we know this, A1 they ask, describe what is seen when the calcium carbonate in the eggshell react with dilute hydrochloric acid. So what can you see? The gas is formed, so you can say it's efflorescence or fizzing. Number 2, describe what the student should do to make sure the acid is in excess. This is to ensure calcium carbonate is fully used up. It will cause fizzing when we still have calcium carbonate with HCl. Then we just add excess HCl until no more fizzing. B. After step 3, the student filter the mixture to obtain unreacted solid left from the eggshells, means they already successfully removed calcium carbonate and the balance are still in solid form. Draw a labeled diagram of apparatus the student should use to filter the mixture. We know it is funnel. And the filtration, you need to have the filter paper. Clearly show this and label the funnel. After the filtration, the student wash the residue. The residue is here, they wash it. So what they want to remove? They want to remove any aqueous solution that's possible to be there. So this is liquid, this is gas, this is solid. These two are the aqueous. So we are trying to remove these two by rinse with water. So they will soluble in the water and remove together when water is flowing out. Part 3 is a calculations question. They say after washing the residue, the student dries the residue in the oven. The student then measure the mass of the dry residue. The masses of the student records are shown. So the small pieces of eggshell initially have 2 grams. Mass of dry residue is 0.11. So the calcium carbonate that is removed is 2 minus 0.11 is 1.89 grams. Use data in table 1.1 to calculate the percentage of mass calcium carbonate in eggshell. So we use the mass of calcium carbonate divided by the total mass times 100%. In calculator, you get is 94.5%. Question 2. A student investigates the reaction between acidic solution B and 2 different solutions, NaOH, C, and D, using 2 different indicators. The student does 2 experiments. Experiment 1, they use a burette. They rinse with distilled water and then solution C. Solution C is NaOH. Run some solution C out of the burette so that the level of the solution is on the burette scale. Record the initial burette reading and then use measuring cylinder to pour 25 cm cube solution B. They use measuring cylinder to pour B, which is acid. Add 5 drops of methyl orange and 5 drops of thimethyline indicator to the conical flask. Stand the conical flask on a white towel. Slowly add solution C from the burette to the conical flask while swirling the flask until the solution change colors from red to orange. This is from acidic to neutral. This is the first endpoint, and then record the burette reading at the first endpoint. Continue to add solution C to the conical flask while swirling the flask. The solution change color from orange to yellow, which means it becomes alkaline. Continue to add solution C while swirling the flask until the solution change color from yellow to green. This is the second endpoint. Record the burette reading at the second endpoint. So experiment 2, empty the conical flask and rinse it with distilled water. Repeat experiment using solution D instead of solution C. So this is the 2 setup. Part A, use the burette diagram in figure 2.1 and 2.2 to record the reading for experiment 1 and 2 in table 2.1. Complete table 2.1. So this experiment 1 and 2, they ask us to record the info. So we see the burette reading at first endpoint. First endpoint is here and here for experiment 1 and 2. Second endpoint, initial burette reading. Volume added from burette to reach the first endpoint. So it's this minus this, 19.6. This minus this, 9.8. Then total volume added from burette to reach second endpoint. Second endpoint is here, so it's this minus this. B1. Explain why the conical flask is rinsed with distilled water at the start of experiment 2 to remove all the impurities that might contain inside the flask. If you want to say to remove contaminants, also can. Part 2. At the start of experiment 1, the burette is rinsed with distilled water and then with solution C. Explain how the volume added to the burette to reach the first endpoint would be different if burette was not rinsed with solution C. So after we flush it, if we do not run it with NaOH, this part, if we do not rinse with NaOH, then this part not NaOH. If this part not NaOH, the first few drops is not NaOH. That's why it will cause the concentration reduce. So that's why it will cause the volume that you need to add is more. This is the reason. When there are some water left there, then it will affect the concentration to make it less concentrated. Number 3, explain why conical flask is placed on white tiles. So white tiles is easier for you to detect the color change. C, compare the concentration of C and D used in experiment 2. Explain your answers. So just now we already know to use experiment 1 with C. To reach the first endpoint, you need 19.6. Experiment 2, solution D, then it needs 9.8. So we can confirm the volume here is lesser because the concentration is higher. And the amount is double. So D is more concentrated. Okay, so we just compare. And when you say D is more concentrated, 1 mark. Half the relationship between them, 1 mark. And then you compare the volume of D to C is 1 more mark. D. Deduce the volume of solution C required to reach the first endpoint in experiment 1 is repeated using 50 cm cube of B instead of 25 cm cube. So when the volume is double here, then the volume here also should be double. So you times 2 will be 39.2 cm cube. Value 1 mark, unit 1 mark. State why using 50 cm cube of solution B would cause a problem when finding the volume of solution C needed to reach the second endpoint in experiment 1. So when the volume here increase, the volume here also increase. Then the volume that we need to use might exceed the burette can hold. Number E, a student repeats experiment 2. The student warms solution B in conical flask before carrying out the titration, so the temperature increased. See the effect, if any, on the volume of D that required to reach the second endpoint in experiment 2. Explain your answer. When we increase temperature, the rate of reaction is higher, but the number of moles do not change. That's why the volume will not get affected. So then the effect of the volume is no change. The reason is it does not change the mole. F. State one change to the apparatus that will improve the accuracy of the result. When talk about accuracy, we do not use measuring cylinder. We can use volumetric pipette. Done for question 2. Question 3 is again the test of salt. information mostly is already in the sheet at the back, so you can just refer to that. I extract some related information here. In the exam, you refer yourself. A student has two solid E and F. E is ammonium sulfate. Record the expected observation. The student dissolve E in distilled water to form solution E, then divide into 3 appropriate equal portions. To the first portion, add NaOH, warms gently and test any gas produced. So it's a gas that we need to test. We know ammonium, when we heat, warm it, it will form ammonia. So test of ammonia is turns damp red, litmus paper blue. All information already in the table, you just extract the related information. Identify the gas given in A1 is ammonia. B. To the second portion of E, the student add 1 cm³ of dilute nitric acid, followed by a few drops of barium nitrate. So barium nitrate is to test the sulfate. So what is the observation? White precipitate form. Part C, to the third portion of solution E, the student add a few drops of acidified KMnO4. KMnO4 is to test sulfite, not to test sulfate. So that's why if you have sulfate, it will change color from purple to colorless, but here we only have sulfate. So that's why the color remain purple. So it will cause the solution from colorless to become purple or pink because we do not add a lot. We just add a few drops. So instead of become purple, you can say the solutions becomes pink. Then tests on solid F. Here has a few tests. They ask you to carry out a flame test. It's a yellow flame. According to a flame test there, we know it contains sodium ion. Then test 2, dissolve the remaining solid F into distilled water to form solution. Have 3 portions. Portion 1, they add dilute nitric acid followed by silver nitrate. Nitric acid and silver nitrate, yellow precipitate shows it have iodide. Today's the second portion of F, add NaOH dropwise until excess. So it will form white precipitate and dissolve in excess. White precipitate insoluble in excess, so we confirm not Ca. White precipitate soluble in excess, so we can confirm it is zinc. So this is for test 1, test 2, test 3. Test 4, they add ammonia dropwise until it's in excess. White precipitate dissolve in excess. White precipitate insoluble, so cannot. White precipitate soluble in excess, so we can confirm it's zinc again. Then they ask us to identify the 3 ions in solid F, so we already identified based on test 1, test 2, and test 3. 3 marks. Last, we go to question number 4. Liquid alcohols can be burned as fuel in spirit burner. The energy is given out can be used to heat water in a boiling tube in this figure. Describe how to investigate which of 3 liquid alcohols heats the water in the boiling tube the fastest. We need to check which one fastest. You are provided with 3 spindle burner samples of 3 alcohols, water, and common lab apparatus. So we plan it. First thing, the thing that's very important is we add how many volume of water. Then after we add in, we need to measure the initial temperature. Then how to know it heats faster? We can set a temperature. Let's say we heat it to 60 degrees. How to check whether it's fastest? We record the time. Whichever fastest to reach 60 degrees C, then would be the fastest. So this is just how we need to write. So we just write in this way, then we can find out which one is the fuels that can heat the water fastest. So this is the end of today's paper. Hope you learned something from here and enjoy the study. All the best for your exam. See you in the next class. Bye bye.